Today my mother celebrated her 89th birthday. Indeed, thank you. And she's well supported, like many octogenarians in Northern Ireland, she's well supported in a social bubble where my sister looks after her extremely well, where she has frequent visits from people who are socially distanced from her, where she has great interaction with her grandchildren and her great-grandchildren, and where she enjoys the fullness of life. But her experience is very unlike millions of old-age pensioners across the whole of the United Kingdom. Tonight, 2.5 million pensioners will live in complete isolation and loneliness across many of our constituencies. And those pensioners have no one to turn to. Those pensioners are frightened to their wits' end about some of the messaging that they will see on our television screens. They believe probably in the words of that other elderly singer and songwriter from Belfast, Van Morrison, that for some people the optics are more important than the facts and the science. And indeed, those elderly people who have a strong faith, many of them are now told that they cannot go to their place of worship here in the United Kingdom, here in Great Britain. I agree with my colleague from Strangford. I think there should be a national day of prayer where the community comes together and where our great church buildings sound out praises and prayers to our Almighty God in a way that actually puts Him first in our nation for the first time in a long time. But there's many people who are in our care homes, who across our care homes don't know if they will get a visit or don't know if they will be entitled to visit. I understand that the Health Service is looking at a pilot scheme to open up care homes to more visits. But many care home practitioners quite correctly tell me it's because they have closed themselves to visits that people living in those care homes have actually been saved from the ravages of coronavirus. And so we have to get a balance that makes sure it works for the practitioners within our care homes also. In Northern Ireland, 80% of those who have succumbed to coronavirus deaths have been octogenarians themselves. So little wonder they live in fear. And I think that we have to make sure that we start to address their concerns adequately and properly. I said earlier in this debate and intervention that we applaud our health workers. We've seen a lot of people out there clapping them. But nurses tell me, and I have to declare an interest, my daughter is a nurse, many nurses tell me that they feel they're being slapped in the face, not clapped on the back, when they look at their paycheck at the end of the month for the work that they have to do. Student nurses ask me regularly, will we be paid through this period of crisis? And I think we have to make sure that we really start to see some progress with regards to nurses' pay. You know, resource, when we look at what's going to happen today, by the time the curtain comes down this evening, 600 people across the United Kingdom will have died of cancer. Over 500 will have died of heart disease. There'll be 20 people who have taken their own life through the misery of suicide. They're practically forgotten in this panic of coronavirus. And yet the figures do tell us something very, very different to what we're being told by some of the leading practitioners. Respiratory diseases killed 3.9 million people worldwide in 2017. In 2020, 1 million people have succumbed to coronavirus. We must make sure that we start to address this issue properly and adequately.